20,000 living veterans make their home here. And when I took over as county executive 7 years ago, we honored deceased veterans. And I want to thank our former Congressman Mike McNulty and County Executive Michael Hoblock and Jack McInerney and everyone else that was involved with that. But I want to take it a step forward and thank these living veterans when they can see the outpour from the community and the difference they made in people's lives. Because I would talk to people after the honor event, and I'd say, how do you know the person? And they go, I really didn't, but they helped me do this in my time of need. And I go, wouldn't that be nice to hear that while you're still here? While you still have the opportunity to say thank you for your service, but most importantly, thank you for everything else. The people we're honoring today and have honored, and everyone that's in uniform, they have the right to come back and live ordinary lives and not really worry about what's going on with everything else around them. But if you notice with men and women that serve this country, even when they take that uniform off, they continue to be the backbone of that community. They continue to give back every day quietly when they have the right to just shut down and say, you know what, I signed that piece of paper, I raised my right hand, I didn't do it for the money, I didn't do it for the pats on the backs, I didn't do it for the military or for the uniform other than Marine Corps. I get it because I want to serve. And that's what it's about.
Next week, Veterans Day is upon us. And this year, it's the 100th anniversary of the signing of the treaty for World War I, the war to end all wars. Today, it is especially appropriate to be honoring 3 veterans who cover 3 different areas of the wars that have continued after World War I. In the past 243 years, men and women from all walks of life have proudly served with commitment, honor, and courage, setting their lives aside in service to America, showing resilience in the face of challenges unimagined by those of us on the home front. Let's pause in gratitude to thank them for protecting and preserving America's ideals of freedom, liberty,
You might have to start over.
and peace.
She's there for every veteran, giving back constantly. And she was a senior chief petty officer who served in the U.S. Navy for 10 years.
Nope, 20.
Oh, sorry, 20. Mary says 10. For 20 years. She was deployed for state active emergencies, duty many times, including during the attacks on September 11th. Put herself in harm's ways many times. But most importantly, and like I was saying earlier, took the uniform off, could live a quiet life in retirement, but give so much back to the veterans community here in Albany County. I couldn't pay her to do what she does. And I can't thank her enough what she does for the Vietnam era veterans and helping them with their organization and keeping it going, keeping it in the forefront.
America's military is unique in its humility and dedication to service, as witnessed by the continued service veterans give to their communities after they are honorably discharged or retire as career veterans. Adrian is no exception. After 10 years of active duty in the Navy, she returned to civilian life, not only taking care of her family, but continuing to serve her community and veterans, with 26 years of service working for the New York Navy Militia, the Navy New York State active duty for 9/11, and the New York National Guard Education Coordination. Like most of our veterans who simply state that they were just doing their jobs, never seeking applause or recognition, Adrian tends to quietly do whatever is needed. When not serving coffee at the Navy Reserve Center, she can be found in the Albany Airport courtesy room, helping returning vets as well as those being deployed with a smile, encouraging words, and generous hugs.
When I was 17 years old and senior in high school, I went to my father and said, I want to join the military. And my father said, hell no. And this was 1960. So fast forward to 1984, and I went to my father and said, I just joined the Navy. And he said, I still wouldn't sign. I was then 42 years old. Now, those of you who are thinking, the recruiters are here, you can't do that anymore. The recruiter told me I can guarantee you until age 60. I can't guarantee you that you're going to get your 20 years in. I got 20 years, 9 months, 7 hours. So I want to thank Mary for the temporary promotion that she gave me on the original program that went out. But I was a lieutenant at one time in the Sea Cadet program. A few people know about our Naval Sea Cadets. I was Lieutenant Grandma. So the kids are, I did have a lieutenant uniform, I never wore it. I always had my chief's uniform on. When Charlene first approached me to do this, I told her no. I said, there's no way I'm going to do this. There's other people out there that are more deserving of it. And then when she finally convinced me that I had to do it, I said I will accept it because I want to accept it in the honor of all the women since the Wax and the Waves who paved the way for me to be able to complete what I did. All my time was all reserve time. My active duty was 12 days here, 15 days there, another 43 days here, somewhere else. But it was all reserve time, and I'm very proud of it.
Staff Sergeant Joseph DeMuro, an Albany native who joined the Army in 1950. Served during the Korean War, served on the front lines in combat. Joe is one of 6 brothers who served in the armed services. When he returned, he became a bricklayer. For over 66 years, he's been a member.
I spent 25 years in the Army and 5 years in the Navy. So finding out that Joe was one of 7, and all of them either served in the Navy and the Army, he shared some really good stories with me. One of the things I found interesting was he served with the 40th Infantry Division. During my time in the Army, the 40th Infantry Division is out of California, and that's one of the units that I worked with on a regular basis. So some of the short stories he shared were really, really kind of cool to hear.
First of all, I feel pretty proud of being awarded all these comments that people are making about me. But I didn't do any more than anybody else. I had 7 boys in my family, all 7 of us were in the service. 3 in the European War, 3 in the Asian War, and 1 between the wars. And the one I'm most proud of is my mother. She's the one that did all of it. Thank you.
I've known Ben Olivieri for over 40 years. I was a student, I was an employee, contemporary, his friend. When I first met him, he was still serving as a reservist in the U.S. Army, and I knew that he was a veteran of active duty. Ben retired from service in the reserves in '95 after 20 years there. He rarely mentioned his service, but I know he's extremely proud to be part of the military. Ben went from a buck private in the infantry and retired as a lieutenant colonel in civil affairs. In 1953, at the age of 18, he decided to volunteer for the draft and join the Army. Even though the police action in Korea was winding down, he trained as an infantryman and was sent overseas. Near the end of his tour of duty, he took the option of transferring to the Ready Reserves and returned home to go to college with the help of the GI Bill. Even though he satisfied his military obligation, he was continuously being recruited to return to service, and he finally accepted a direct commission to return to the Army as an officer in the reserves. I know that Ben sincerely believes that it was an honor to serve our country and that he himself has benefited from the service. He said that he's learned confidence in himself, how to work as a team and as a leader, and I saw all those things over the years in working with Ben. On a personal level, Ben has been an instructor, my mentor, my confidant, my friend, and I'm honored to introduce Ben Olivieri to you all this morning.
I am truly honored and humbled that my community chose to recognize my service to our country. Thank you.